Hello, Father Ben from St. Francis Episcopal Church in Macon, Georgia. This is my weekly message for our Friars Messenger. Gospel assigned for morning prayer this morning was from Matthew chapter 19. Jesus makes a paradoxical statement according to where the disciples were at that time and according to where we are in our own time. He said, "Truly I say to you, it will be hard for a rich man to enter the kingdom of heaven. Again, I tell you, it is easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to enter the kingdom of God." Now, first I want to tell you, there was no gate in Jerusalem called the eye of the needle. That came from some prosperity gospel people, or I guess we're trying to make it somewhat easier to be rich and to attain riches and still make it into heaven. So let's take it for what it is, a camel through the eye of a needle that we used to sew. Now, the disciples were in a period of time for many hundreds of years before that if you were rich, then you were blessed by the divine. And I think we're still in that as well. So they were astonished at Jesus for saying that. And then Peter basically says, "Oh, what's in this for us? I mean, why are we doing this?" And Jesus said, "For men, all of this is impossible, but for God, all things are possible." At that point, we have to look at divine grace. We can't do it all ourselves. I think that's also a theme through our Gospels, is that we are not capable of putting on the mind of God, of reaching that place without God's grace and help. And then the most paradoxical statement of all, the first will be last and the last will be first. And that has really, for our 21st century minds, North American minds, this doesn't make sense because that's not what we're told. We're not told that at all. Constantly we are told that you got to have more to be successful. And if look at the poor people, they made bad choices and all of this. And the few people that say success is not necessarily having a lot, their voices are drowned out. And I hear many leaders today, political leaders, who have put on the guise of the mantle of a shepherd, and even religious leaders who are voicing things that are contrary to what Jesus has said. That those of what Jesus says can be of no use to us now. It hasn't done us any good. And I've had some dear people say we can no longer believe in some of that, but they still consider themselves Christians. So the paradox of the first being last and last being first, how I hear it and read it, is that our world is not the world that the kingdom of heaven is modeled after. And for many of us, thank God that will not be the case. The kingdom of heaven is putting your whole trust in God. God is in the center of our relationship, not money or wealth, anything, fame, that gets in the way of that. Jesus is telling us, in order to think like God, to put on the mind of God, wealth cannot get in the way.